Welcome back. You're still watching The Agenda. Now, a lot is said about agriculture and how it supports economies and provides food security, but not much is said about the financial systems and the challenges of the sector. Well, Grobank is a financial institution that also makes its business to support farmers. Bennie van Rooi is the CEO of Grobank and joins me now. Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Peter.
All right, so Grobank, I mean, just by its name, it gives us a clue, I guess, about what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that is correct. The bank itself has been in existence for over 70 years. It used to be known as the South African Bank of Athens. The bank was acquired by 3 shareholders in October last year, our own PIC, the agricultural group AFGRI, and the Canadian investment group by the name of Fairfax. They came together and decided that they want to launch predominantly a specialized food and agricultural bank in the country. Given the priority that's being attached to the agricultural sector, we know it's a priority sector from a government perspective. We know there's an enormous amount of potential to take a group of smallholder and subsistence farmers and graduate them to become commercial farmers. And then the Grobank name was launched on the 1st of April. So we're really looking forward to take advantage of the opportunities that there are in the agricultural sector and to make a meaningful difference not only to commercial farmers but to every single participant in the sector, smallholder farmers, subsistence farmers and farm workers.
All right, so agricultural finance is not a new thing and there are a lot of people offering it. What's going to be different with Grobank?
Yeah, like you say, all the commercial banks and the government-owned land bank all try to find solutions for the agricultural sector. I think the one difference that Grobank will have is that it will be a specialized agricultural bank. The commercial banks also service farmers. Grobank specifically aims at providing solutions to the agricultural sector, and it's a unique sector with different challenges. The biggest risks to the sector are external to the sector, like adverse weather conditions. We experience that often in South Africa, commodity prices, but a bank that truly understands the farmer, the challenges that the farmer face, would be able to provide better solutions and exceed the expectations of the individual farmers.
All right, so who have you got in mind that's kind of most likely to benefit from this kind of assistance, and what does it do for them? So I'm farmer A. What is your target market, and what will your finance help me do?
Okay. So the agricultural sector, like most sectors of Africa, is virtually a dual economy. You've got a small chunk of commercial farmers, roughly 40,000 commercial farmers, approximately 200,000 smallholder farmers, and in and about 2 million subsistence farmers, and almost 1 million farm workers. And each and every one of these farmers or participants in the agricultural sector has specific needs and requirements. Obviously, a commercial farmer has an established business. They need a different suite of financial solutions and banking solutions. Once you get to smallholder farmers, their needs are different. They typically want to find ways to expand their operations and to graduate to become a commercial farmer. And there we need to form a number of partnerships, relationships with commercial agricultural bodies and cooperatives, even government, potentially the land bank, to find ways to make land available to those smallholder farmers and enable them to grow their business and become commercial farmers. For subsistence farmers and to an extent smallholder farmers, we are targeting ways to connect them to off-takers or buyers of their products. Very unsophisticated market in South Africa, and with the banking world and communication channels changing, a lot of digitalization will have to take place, almost forming informal fresh produce markets where a subsistence farmer can offer 2, 3, 5 or 10 bags of potatoes to a restaurant or to a lodge. So those are typically the solutions we want to find, is to find ways to connect, but also to enable smaller than subsistence farmers to grow their business enterprises.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, some of the things that I hear about constantly is I know how to put stuff in the ground, but it's the business side of agriculture that a lot of the smaller farmers struggle with. Is that something you can assist with the finance?
Absolutely. Yeah. The agricultural sector lends itself towards forming partnerships. Now, a lot of farmers battle with, like you rightly pointed out, Peter, with the operational side. So there's a lot of skill shortages, requirement for mentoring and coaching and so forth. And the commercial farmers are very keen to support emerging and smallholder farmers, and we are also in the process of trying to find solutions to put specific programs in place, skills programs in place to support smallholder farmers. You know, Peter, if they take me to a farm, they ask me to start farming, I wouldn't know where to start. Yeah. If they take you and I to Sandton and ask us to build a 50-story skyscraper, we will battle. So it's difficult to imagine that you will take people keen to farm, but not with the experience, and take them to a piece of land and say, off you go and you start farming. You have to support them with an entire value chain, with infrastructure, with support mechanisms, with extension services, skills training, but equally important, access to a market. You have to know where to sell your product. So we're very keen to form all these little value chains around smallholder farmers, subsistence farmers, to enable them to provide them end-to-end support, that everything operationally can work, and the only issues that they should be concerned about should be weather conditions and so forth, which we can't control in any case.
Yeah, so talking about weather conditions, how do you assist? You know, I mean, are there insurances? What does a farmer do? Because we live in a world of climate change now, and things that we used to know and understand are not the same anymore.
Yeah, that and it's a reality that the climate is changing. If we look at certain parts in the country, specifically pieces or portions of the northwest province, where historically a lot of white maize was farmed, but the weather conditions have changed so adversely that the seasons have been very favorable recently. So I think the climate change and environmentally and socially responsible lending practices will continue to become so important in supporting farmers. So it's important to provide that advisory services as part of your extension and support services, and to identify alternative production methods that would enable you to be more successful.
All right. So what are you hoping as a business to be in this sector?
Yeah, look, the banking sector is an exciting sector in South Africa at this stage. There are so many new entrants. We think about Time Bank, Discovery Bank, and so forth. The agricultural sector is a sector with an enormous amount of potential. We know in the document released by the Minister of Finance, the Economic Policy document on Wednesday evening, a lot of focus on the agricultural sector. So it's a priority sector for government. So to merge these two, to marry these two sectors, the banking sector and the agricultural sector, is extremely exciting. So we desperately want to make a meaningful difference to every single participant that we touch in the agricultural sector, to make their lives easier, to enable them to grow their businesses, and to hopefully build a successful, truly South African bank that can exceed expectations and make a meaningful difference to the country.
Yeah, and we're in the world of 4IR, Fourth Industrial Revolution. Is your bank hoping to help build the technology and the digitization of the sector going forward?
Well, if you don't participate in digital developments, you will be left behind. It is as simple as that. Traditional communication channels are changing on a daily basis. If we think about banking services, what it was as recently as 3 years ago, where it was typically a bricks and mortar setup, to where we are now with mobile applications and digitalization and all sorts of fancy platforms and fintech stuff that's become so common around us. You have to find these solutions, and again, if you want to marry the agricultural sector and the banking sector, you have to find the convergences in technology between the two sectors. So what would make the lives of farmers easier, and what would make it easier for them to bank their transactions? So of course technology and technology innovation will be a key part of how we want to approach building this bank. So we're likely to see a lot of digital solutions, both on the agricultural side and on the banking side. All
right, 2019. What are the biggest challenges the agriculture sector is facing that you're already anticipating?
Well, if we focus on South Africa specifically, I think there are a number of uncertainties. The first one being just general policy uncertainty from a government perspective. All sorts of observations made about expropriation without compensation, and all sorts of, from a government perspective, ruling party point of view, all sorts of very specific objectives set for the agricultural sector. We want to create a substantial amount of jobs. We want to see the number of commercial farmers increasing in the country. So there's a lot of focus on the sector. So that political certainty, so if the government feels so strongly about the sector, how strongly will they support the sector? And we're talking about monetary support. Now, to become a new farmer with all the external risk we face, predominantly weather conditions, you can do everything that you can the way you should. But if it doesn't rain, your crop is likely to be a failure. So we need that risk-bearing capacity to tell a farmer, from a government perspective, a new emerging, new generation farmer, your first season or two, if there are losses, as a government, I will take care of it. That's the first part that's uncertain that we have to clarify. The second part is, and if the main risks that the agricultural sector is exposed to are external risks. It's weather conditions. We can't control the weather. We've been able to do a lot of things on this planet, but we haven't been able to create rain. And secondly, volatile commodity prices or a volatile economy.
Yeah.
So the more we can do to protect farmers and to provide them with risk mitigation and to enable them to be more climate responsible and environmentally responsible, the better chances we have to build a successful sector. But with all those negative sentiments, Tony, I think, Peter, it's important to recognise that there's so much potential in the agricultural sector in this country, so much ability to create meaningful jobs in the country, and that's the role that we want to play as a new bank, and we desperately want to support the sector.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck. Thank you so much indeed for coming through. And Grobank, and let's hope that you can help plant some powerful seeds and grow the sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, okay, so there you have it. Grobank, perhaps not terribly new in terms of the institution itself, but as a bank focusing on the agricultural sector, very the new kid on the block, but keen to help and assist grow the agricultural sector. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have more for you and an interesting meeting that took place between South Africa and Zimbabwean officials in Limpopo. Find out what that was about.